Got a good DJ this morning. Okay. Well, thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. Brian, thank you. It's been really awesome getting to know you and the team. I want to thank Tim, the entire leadership here within the world of supporting our fuels and our natural gas sector. I came here really with a message of an expression of support for the necessary investments we're making to expand affordable, reliable energy. And I really wanted to come right off the top and address an elephant in the room, and this is the ongoing assault from some in the political spectrum against affordable, reliable energy sources for the people of Canada. And a decade ago in this province, there were governments, perhaps altruistic in their intent, but they enacted policies that led to energy poverty for many of our families, for fixed income pensioners. And I just find that unacceptable. Totally unacceptable, incongruous with the overarching priority of government, which is keeping the grid affordable, keeping energy sources affordable, home heating affordable in the midst of winter, so people don't have to make these false choices as we heard over the past decade of sort of heating and eating. But that was a reality for too many in our province, and we will never go back to those ideological decisions that precluded the involvement and the investment in natural gas as a viable, affordable, reliable energy source for the people of Ontario. We feel very strongly about this, and I wanted to lead off with the commitment to working with the sector as we build out our vision to have the energy we need for our families, for our homes, for our businesses, and our farms. And it's important we start with that message. So thank you, Tim, for that, and thank you all for being with us. But we do have an ambitious plan. I mean, look, the truth is we're going to need all forms of energy. And when I talk about technology agnosticism, it's not a talking point. It is a realization of how I sort of see the world. We need to leverage every energy source available to this country in order to remain competitive in our economy. We have unprecedented rates of growth in population, in electrification, as well as the industry that is coming to Ontario, the foreign direct investment, the $43 billion of FDI we've attracted since coming to office alone. And so the fundamental question for anyone that gets out there, you see them on the news making these claims that there is an alternative, help me understand the consequence of a rash elimination of certain fuels or certain energy sources on the impact on families. And if we want to be intellectually honest, we're going to have to acknowledge that rates will dramatically increase. We're going to have to acknowledge that reliability will be at risk. And a case study of this, where ideology triumphs over pragmatism and over affordability for the families we serve, is in the original iteration of the clean energy regulations as proposed by the federal government. I've made it very clear to the federal ministers of natural resources and the environment that we oppose that draft regulation on the basis that it will lead to reliability challenges for the province. It will increase rates for families at a time of an affordability crisis. And we simply will not sit idle when we know that that type of ideological approach will have real consequences on the sector, on the workforce, and frankly on everyday families. And so we've expressed at the highest levels opposition to that proposal and a commitment to work with the feds to get to yes on something that is reasonable and rooted in the economic landscape in the world we live in. I'm self-aware as I used to work for Prime Minister Stephen Harper in the Prime Minister's office for 5.5 years, and I was very proud. I'm a very proud Canadian, proud patriot, and I think, we have the 5th largest supply of natural gas on Earth. And in the immediate term and for the medium term, we're going to need to depend on those forms of energy that are available to our people. And I challenge those in public service and the media and other stakeholders who create this false impression. Right now in this world, we're either purchasing from democratic allies like Canada, or we're purchasing from Vladimir Putin. That's essentially the binary, sharp choice before the world. And I believe as a Canadian, as a small d Democrat, as someone who believes in our values, we should be loud and proud to help export these products to global markets, to reduce their dependence on coal, to reduce emissions, to support their transition, but more importantly, to create jobs and revenue and opportunity for the people of Canada, including Indigenous communities that are longing for that type of engagement, participation, and opportunity. And I believe in Canadian energy. I believe in Canadian energy products reaching those markets. And I think now more than ever in a world where we are literally enabling the financing of these war machines instead of leaning in as a proud democracy with environmental, social, indigenous levels of sort of excellence of how we operate, how we navigate, how we build, extract, and export. So I'm proud of what we do, and I hope, and I know you are too, and I want you to know that our Premier and our entire party and government really understands the value proposition of having a natural gas in our energy mix, and that we are going to stand up for them, because we know that as a fuel for electrical power generation, you're playing a fundamental role in the reliability, particularly as we sort of, for our grid right now, providing dispatchable balancing and peaking services, which is very important for all of us who use our ACs on those 30-degree days, or may need to turn on our heat on those negative 30 days in Canada. It's also a fuel for space and water heating. Natural gas has long been the cheapest option for families. And I would submit, for anyone that wants to make the case that we should increase costs when we already have a carbon tax, among the highest carbon taxes on Earth, that will increase again on January, I would submit that policy alone on affordability is what should drive governments and policymakers. And the third is that it's a source of industrial process heat and a feedstock for production in the chemical industry. We know natural gas plays a fundamental role in supplying cost-competitive energy and material inputs. But look, we've been very clear, we're going to stand up for families and stand up for choice. And in the LT2, the long-term procurement, I made the choice in the first 30 days as minister where I pursued a technology-agnostic procurement. Let affordability reign. Let's ensure that we really select those options that are going to be reliable and affordable for the families of the province, keeping in mind we have one of the cleanest grids on Earth. I am proud of that. I think we are all proud of that as Canadians. Roughly 90% of our grid is at non-emitting sources. So we'll continue to lean into the cleaner, greener future, but obviously we recognize that we need to use all forms of energy, and we need to allow all of them to compete on the market and not pick winners and losers as was proposed for governments past. And that's why we launched this large procurement. 5,000 megawatts of energy could generate enough energy for 5 million homes. It's not inconsequential. This is a big step forward, part of a broader vision of our government and premier to build out our energy generation, our transmission, our storage, and eventually our export capabilities as well into foreign markets. But we understand the value of natural gas, and we also recognize that there was a decision made some months ago where the Ontario Energy Board made a determination that essentially asked families to pay customers, residential customers or small business to pay 100% of costs of new natural gas connections up front, something that we have been previously paid over 40 years. And the government acted swiftly with overwhelming commitments to not impose thousands of dollars, like we're talking about $44,000 increase for your child that's trying to purchase a home. And so let's not allow these things to be abstract. Like, this is not someone else's problem. This is your problem. It's our problem as a country if we stand idle and allow these sort of stealth taxes to be imposed on homes in Ontario. For our kids and new Canadians and anyone who aspires for home ownership, we got to be part of the solution. I see energy as a critical input to creating that affordable, attainable vision of home ownership. So we acted with Bill 165, the Keeping Energy Costs Down Act. And we did so on the basis that, to protect future home buyers from those increased costs and to help get those shovels in the ground so our kids could realize the potential of home ownership. And we're proud that we did so because we saved families $4,000 a unit. That I know is a significant savings that was entirely the right thing to do. And it provides a streamlining for the Leave to Construct, for small energy projects, part of the broader vision of supporting the expansion of energy infrastructure to expand the reliability of those sources to families, to businesses, and to farms. And I will just simply say, in the agriculture sector, where I've worked very closely with our new Minister of Agriculture and Food, Minister Rob Flack from the London area, and he's been very clear that natural gas is so critical to agricultural, their growth, to the agricultural sector growth, particularly in greenhouses. I have these in my own riding in the beautiful community of King Township. We have many emerging greenhouses that are being built and producing some of the best, most nutritious food on Earth. And I, again, am very proud of the food security that Canada is helping to solve for so many parts of the world, including in the US market. And the truth is that we need natural gas. Any farmer, any greenhouse operator, anyone who's involved with barns or drying grains will tell you that this is the cheapest, best option available to them. And we know, for any Canadian, we want to keep the family farm, those intergenerational family farms within our Canadian family, and thus we have to make sure that our farms have competitive prices and available options to them. And we really are standing with them, and I also appreciate how consequential natural gas is for our greenhouses, for many of our crop production to flourish. We need that type of input. So we are excited about the future, and we're going to do this together because we need every form of energy to collaborate, to compete, and to be part of the solution. As we retain a clean grid, yes, but as we keep the rates low for families. And the overarching priority for our government is affordability. Keeping in mind, in 2018, look, we were elected on a mandate of affordability after rates skyrocketed. And we are very self-aware of what sort of brought us to the dance on this. This is a big priority for the families we serve, for industry and small businesses. And it's a priority for our Premier and for our government today. So we are proud of the work you're doing. We're proud of the workforce that actually delivers this to our families and to our business. And I just want to reaffirm to you our commitment to work with this sector as we continue to deliver affordable, reliable energy for the people of Ontario. So thank you so very much for this opportunity. A funny sort of story, I was a couple of days on the job, weeks on the job. Sam Oosterhoff and I were out in Alberta. We were there for the FPT, the Federal Provincial Territorial Minister meeting. In my first act as minister, I got a hoodie from the Oil and Gas Association. I threw it on, and I know that I triggered so many snowflakes in downtown Toronto when I did that, but it was a badge of honor, okay, because we're supporting Canadian commodities, Canadian resources, and I want to see these resources get to foreign markets to displace the despotic regimes around the world. And we could be part of global peace, security, and democracy by exporting our resources abroad. But for here in Ontario, let's continue to leverage the good that you're creating to keep our grid affordable and reliable. So thank you so very much. I appreciate this.